The alarm system screamed across the Galactic Council headquarters. Emergency lights flashed red in every monitoring station. Dozens of alien species scrambled to their posts, their different forms creating chaos in the corridors. Something massive had just entered Council space, and the sensors could barely comprehend what they were detecting. "Impossible," whispered Counselor VMAC, his 3 eyes wide with disbelief. The holographic display showed a vessel so enormous that it made their largest warships look like children's toys. "Run the scan again. There must be an error." The technician, a small Prixian with trembling hands, shook her head. "No error, Counselor. The readings are accurate. That ship is... it's 15 kilometers long." Silence fell across the command center. 15 kilometers. The Council's proudest dreadnought measured barely 2 kilometers. This thing was a flying mountain. Threx, the Vexian military coordinator, slammed his fist on the console. His scales rippled with anger and something else. Fear. "Where did it come from? Which empire sent this monstrosity?" "The signature is unknown," another technician reported. "But the origin point, it came from the quarantined sector, the one we marked as primitive civilization territory." "The humans?" Vamac's voice cracked. "But our scouts said they barely had space stations. They were still fighting wars on their own planet just decades ago." Threx's combat implants activated, casting a red glow across his face. "Then either our scouts were fools, or the humans have been hiding their true strength. Either way, this is an invasion force. Look at that ship. It's clearly built for war." On the bridge of the Titan's Resolve, Admiral Kang Min-jun stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He watched the sensor readings with calm eyes. 30 alien vessels had surrounded them within the first hour of their arrival. More were coming. "Should we raise shields to full power, sir?" asked Commander Park Ji-hoon from the tactical station. Kang shook his head. "Keep them at standard navigation strength. We're here as diplomats, not conquerors. I won't give them reason to think otherwise." Dr. Sarah Chen approached from the communications deck, her face troubled. "Admiral, they're not responding to our hails. We've broadcast peaceful greetings in 47 languages we picked up from their public transmissions. Nothing but silence." "They're afraid," Kang said simply. He understood fear. Humanity had lived with it for years, watching the asteroid that nearly ended their species approach Earth. They'd built this ship in desperation, a last hope for survival. Now it seemed their ark of salvation looked like a weapon of destruction to everyone else. "Sir, multiple weapons locks detected," Park reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "They're targeting our engines and bridge." Kang's jaw tightened. "Hold position. Do not return locks. We will not fire the first shot." Back at Council headquarters, the emergency session had devolved into shouting matches. Representatives from 200 species filled the chamber, each voice adding to the chaos. "We must strike now before they bring more ships," Threx roared, his voice cutting through the noise. "That vessel could destroy our entire defense fleet. We cannot allow them to establish a foothold." A counselor from the peaceful Melian species stood, her crystalline body chiming with agitation. "And what if they truly come in peace? Would you start a war based on fear alone?" "Peace?" Threx gestured at the hologram of the Titan's Resolve. "Look at that thing. Every surface bristles with weapons. The power readings suggest reactors capable of powering entire planets. That is not a ship of peace, Counselor Sella. That is a doomsday weapon." Sella's light dimmed with sadness. "Perhaps to them it is simply a ship. We cannot judge their intentions by our standards." "Then you're a fool," Threx snapped. He turned to the Council leadership. "I move for immediate military mobilization. We surround them, we give them one chance to leave, and if they refuse, we eliminate the threat." The vote was close, but fear won. The Council issued its order. Humanity had one standard cycle to leave Council space or face the consequences. On the Titan's resolve, Chen received the transmission. Her face paled as she read it. Admiral, they're giving us an ultimatum. Leave within 12 hours, or they'll attack. Kang closed his eyes briefly. All those years of preparation, all those hopes of finding friends among the stars, and they'd been judged dangerous within hours of arrival. Send another message. Tell them we request a diplomatic meeting, face-to-face communication. Sir, they may not respond. Then we wait, Kang said firmly. We came to make friends, not enemies. I won't abandon that mission because of fear, theirs or ours. Below decks, Commander Lee Soo-jin reviewed the tactical situation with her team. The numbers were bad. 200 alien ships surrounded them now, with more arriving every hour. The Titan's resolve was powerful, designed to survive anything space could throw at it. But this was different. These were people, civilizations with families and homes. Could we fight our way out if needed? Asked a young officer. Lee looked at him seriously. Probably. But we won't. The Admiral's right. We didn't cross the stars to become monsters. Back on the Council station, Sella worked frantically at her communication terminal. She'd listened to humanity's broadcasts. Really listened. Their messages spoke of hope, of seeking knowledge and friendship. Their music carried sadness and joy in equal measure. These didn't sound like conquerors. She opened a private channel, one that might get through where official ones had failed. Human vessel, this is Junior Diplomat Sella of the Melian Concordat. I believe you. I will try to arrange a meeting. Please don't give up on us. On the Titan's resolve, Chen's console chimed. She read the message and felt tears of relief. Admiral, we have a response. A sympathetic ear. Kang allowed himself a small smile. Then there's hope yet. Prepare a diplomatic team. We're going to show them who humanity really is. Outside, the alien fleets continued to gather, weapons charged and ready. The largest ship humanity had ever built hung in space, surrounded by hundreds of fearful neighbors. The next hours would determine whether humanity found friends among the stars or faced their first interstellar war. The galaxy held its breath and waited. The Council chamber had never seen such chaos. Representatives from across the galaxy argued, shouted, and demanded action. The holographic display of the human warship rotated slowly in the center, a constant reminder of the threat hanging in their space. Threx stood at the military podium, his voice booming over the noise. This is not a time for debate. Every moment we wait, they study our defenses. They learn our weaknesses. We must act. Counselor VMAC raised one hand for silence. His position as senior counselor gave him some authority, though barely enough to control the panic. Military Coordinator Threx, what evidence do you have that the humans plan to attack? Evidence? Threx's scales flashed with anger. Their ship is evidence enough, but if you need more, consider this. They speak our languages, all of them. They've been listening to us, studying us, preparing for this moment. Murmurs of fear rippled through the chamber. Sella stood, her crystalline form chiming softly for attention. Or perhaps they learned our languages to communicate with us. That seems like something peaceful beings would do. Naive, Threx spat. They're spies. They've been watching us for years, and now they reveal themselves because they're ready to strike. Why else would they bring such a massive warship? On the Titan's resolve, Dr. Chen reviewed the diplomatic data with growing frustration. Every message they sent seemed to make things worse. The aliens interpreted their knowledge of galactic languages as espionage, their ship's size as aggression, their peaceful holding pattern as tactical positioning. How do we convince them we're not a threat? She asked Admiral Kang. The Admiral studied the tactical display. Over 300 alien ships now surrounded them. The formation was actually quite poor from a military standpoint, with overlapping fields of fire and inefficient coverage. But he kept that observation to himself. We show them who we are. Actions speak louder than words. "Admiral, incoming transmission," the communications officer called. "It's the Council, official diplomatic frequency." Kang straightened his uniform. "Put it through." Counselor Vemak's face appeared on the screen, his 3 eyes showing stress. "Human Commander, I am Counselor Vemak of the Galactic Council. We acknowledge your requests for peaceful contact." "Thank you, Counselor," Kang replied respectfully. "I am Admiral Kang Minjun, commander of the Earth vessel Titan's Resolve. We come seeking friendship and knowledge." "Your ship suggests otherwise," Vemak said carefully. "Such a vessel could only be built for war." Kang chose his words carefully. "Our ship was built for survival, Counselor. But I understand your concern. What can we do to prove our peaceful intentions?" Behind Vemak, Threx pushed into view. "You can leave, immediately, or you can demonstrate your ship's capabilities so we can properly assess the threat you represent." Chen winced. A demonstration was a terrible idea, but Kang remained calm. "If a demonstration would ease your fears, we will comply. But I assure you, what you see as weapons are tools for exploration and survival." After the transmission ended, Park approached the Admiral quietly. "Sir, they're trying to intimidate us. If we show them our full capabilities, they'll be more afraid, not less." "I know," Kang said, "but refusing would be worse. Prepare the demonstration, minimal power levels only." Back at the Council station, Threx felt satisfaction. The humans had agreed to his trap. Once they saw humanity's full military power, the Council would have to authorize preemptive action. No one would vote for peace when faced with such danger. "Prepare the fleet for the demonstration," he ordered. "Show them our finest ships, our best formations, our most advanced weapons. Let the humans know what they face if they choose war." The demonstration began 3 hours later. The Council positioned their most impressive warships in formation, 12 dreadnoughts, each representing a different species' finest military achievement. They activated their shields, which shimmered with beautiful energy patterns. They fired their weapons at designated targets, asteroids brought in specifically for this purpose. The rocks exploded into dust under concentrated fire. From the viewing stations, thousands of officials watched with pride. This was the might of the Galactic Council, the power of civilizations working together. Then it was humanity's turn. The Titan's Resolve didn't move dramatically. It simply activated systems that Admiral Kang considered basic defensive measures. The point defense grid came online, thousands of automated turrets designed to shoot down space debris that might damage the hull. To the watching aliens, it looked like every surface of the ship suddenly sprouted weapons. "Sweet, merciful void," breathed one observer. "How many guns does that thing have?" The shields activated next. The humans called them meteor shields, designed to absorb impacts from space rocks during high-speed travel. They powered up with a blue glow that covered the massive vessel. A test shot from one of the Council's dreadnoughts hit the shield and simply vanished, absorbed without even a ripple. "That blast would have crippled our flagship," a military officer whispered. Commander Lee Soo-jin demonstrated the hangar capabilities next. The Titan's Resolve opened its massive bay doors and began launching fighter craft. Hundreds of them poured out in perfect formation, each one a sleek vessel designed for asteroid mining and debris clearing. To the Council, it looked like a swarm of attack ships. Then came the moment that changed everything. Park activated the manufacturing demonstration. One of the ship's factory modules constructed a small scout vessel right before their eyes, assembling it from raw materials using advanced fabrication systems. In 3 hours, a complete spacecraft emerged from the construction bay. Silence fell across every viewing station. "They can build ships," someone said numbly. They're not just a warship, they're a mobile factory. Threx stared at the display, his earlier confidence crumbling. This wasn't just a powerful ship. This was something beyond anything the Council had imagined. A single vessel that could manufacture its own fleet, that could sustain itself indefinitely, that could defend against anything they threw at it. "Counselor Vemak," he said quietly, "I may have made an error in judgment." Sela felt hope stirring. The demonstration had been terrifying, yes, but it also revealed something important. The humans had shown restraint. Everything they displayed was clearly defensive in nature. The weapons were small and numerous, perfect for shooting down missiles or debris, not for destroying planets. The shields were designed to absorb impacts, not to power offensive systems. Even the fighters were clearly built for utility, not combat. "They're not warriors," she said suddenly. "They're survivors. Everything about that ship is designed to keep people alive." Vemak looked at her, understanding dawning in his eyes. "You may be right, but that makes them more dangerous, not less. Survivors do whatever it takes to survive." On the Titan's resolve, Kang watched the sensor feeds showing the alien fleet's reaction. Some ships had powered up weapons in fear, others had pulled back. The formation was breaking apart as different species reacted in different ways. "We may have miscalculated," Chen said softly. "Perhaps," Kang agreed, "but at least now they know the truth. We're not conquerors. We're just people trying to find our place in the galaxy." "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from Counselor Vemak. He wants to meet with us directly, face to face." Kang nodded slowly. "Then we go. Park Chen and 2 security personnel. We'll show them that we trust them enough to walk among them unarmed." "That's incredibly risky, sir," Park objected. "Yes," Kang said, "but sometimes risk is the only path to trust. Prepare the shuttle." The neutral diplomatic station orbited a dead moon. Built centuries ago for exactly this purpose, meetings between potentially hostile powers. Dr. Sarah Chen stepped off the human shuttle with Admiral Kang beside her. Commander Park followed with 2 Marines, both unarmed as a gesture of trust. The station's receiving bay held dozens of armed alien guards. Chen counted at least 6 different species, each carrying weapons that could kill humans instantly. She kept her expression calm and friendly, refusing to show fear. "Welcome, humans," Counselor Vemak said, his 3 eyes studying them carefully. "You honor us with your trust." "Trust must start somewhere," Kang replied. "We hope this is that start." Threx stood behind Vemak, his scales still showing signs of stress. The demonstration had shaken him badly. He'd expected to see weapons of conquest. Instead, he'd seen something that frightened him more. A ship built by people who expected the universe to try to kill them. The diplomatic chamber was large enough to accommodate the massive variety of body types represented on the council. Chen and her team were led to a platform at the center, surrounded by curved seating that held representatives from 200 species. It felt like being on trial. Vemak called the session to order. "Dr. Chen, you requested this opportunity to explain your presence. The council is listening." Chen took a breath and began. "Thank you, Counselor. I want to tell you a story. 15 years ago, humanity discovered an asteroid on a collision course with Earth. It would have destroyed our entire civilization." The chamber remained silent. Many species had faced similar threats. "We were not united then," Chen continued. "Our world was divided into competing nations. We fought wars over resources, territory, and beliefs. But the asteroid changed everything. Faced with extinction, we finally came together. Every nation, every person working toward one goal: survival." She gestured to Admiral Kang. "The Titan's resolve was built during those years. It was meant to be an ark, a vessel to carry survivors if we couldn't stop the asteroid. We poured every resource we had into it. Our best technology, our greatest minds, all focused on building something that could keep humanity alive in the void of space." But you stopped the asteroid, Sella said softly from her seat. Yes, Chen nodded. At the last moment, we succeeded. But by then, the Titan's resolve was nearly complete. We'd learned something important during those dark years. We were capable of so much more than we'd believed. We'd learned to work together, to dream bigger than our small planet. She looked around the chamber, meeting alien eyes of all types. So we finished the ship. Not as a warship, but as what it was always meant to be. A vessel for exploration, for discovery, for finding new homes among the stars. We hope to find neighbors out here. Friends who might welcome us to the galactic community. Your ship is armed, Threx said, his voice less hostile than before, but still suspicious. Heavily armed. Kang stepped forward. Military Coordinator Threx, may I ask about your species' history? Have the Vexians always lived in peace? Threx's scales rippled with old pain. No. My people fought a civil war that nearly destroyed our world. We know the cost of violence. Then you understand, Kang said gently. Humanity learned similar lessons. We built our ship to survive anything because we'd seen how quickly everything could be lost. Those weapons you saw, they're designed to destroy asteroids, clear debris, protect against space hazards. Yes, they could be used in war, but so could any tool. A farming tool can become a weapon. A transportation vehicle can become a bomb. We judge by intent, not capability. A small reptilian counselor spoke up. You say the ship is a colony vessel, but where are your colonists? Your families? We've detected minimal life signs aboard. This is a scouting mission, Chen explained. We're searching for suitable worlds, making first contact, learning about the galaxy. The Titan's resolve can carry 50,000 people. But right now we have only a crew of 3,000. We didn't want to risk civilians until we knew what was out here. A reasonable precaution, Vaymak observed. But it also means your ship is running far below capacity. The manufacturing capability we saw, the power output, all of it suggests this vessel could sustain operations indefinitely. That's correct, Kang confirmed. We built it to be self-sufficient. In case Earth was destroyed, the ship needed to keep our species alive for generations. Sella's crystalline form chimed thoughtfully. I've studied your broadcasts, Dr. Chen, your music, your art, your public communications. They speak of hope, curiosity, even love. These are not the cultural outputs of a warrior species. We are warriors when we must be, Kang said honestly. Our history is full of wars. But we learned that surviving against the universe requires different skills than surviving against each other. Out here working together keeps you alive. Fighting wastes resources and lives. Threx stood, his massive form commanding attention. I want to ask you something directly, Admiral. If we had attacked you during the demonstration, what would you have done? The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to Kang. The Admiral met Threx's gaze steadily. I would have defended my crew. I would have disabled your ships if possible, destroyed them if necessary. But I would not have pursued. I would not have retaliated against your stations or worlds. We came here to make friends, not to start wars. Defending ourselves doesn't change that goal. You could have destroyed our entire fleet, Threx said quietly. The tactical analysis is clear. Your shields, your weapons, your power output, all of it vastly exceeds our capabilities. Why didn't you simply take what you wanted? Because that's not who we are, Chen said firmly. We didn't survive the asteroid just to become bullies among the stars. We wanted to join something bigger than ourselves. The Galactic Council represents hundreds of species working together. That's beautiful. That's worth more than any territory or resources we could take by force. An elderly counselor from a species Chen didn't recognize spoke up. Your words are pretty, Dr. Chen, but words are easy. How do we know you speak truth? Park stepped forward, surprising everyone. Because we're here. Admiral Kang, Dr. Chen, and myself, 3 humans standing in the middle of your station, surrounded by your armed guards. We left our ship, our defenses, everything that keeps us safe. We came because the Admiral believed that trust requires risk. Commander Park is right, Kang added. We could have stayed on our ship, safe behind our shields. We could have demanded you come to us. Instead, we walked into your hands, because that's what people who want peace do. They make themselves vulnerable. Vamac's 3 eyes showed something that might have been respect. You've given us much to consider, but I must be honest. Many on this council still fear you. Your demonstration showed power we cannot match. How can we feel safe with such an imbalance? Chen smiled. Counselor, Earth has something we call the Internet. It's a global network of information. Every person on our planet can access the knowledge of our entire species. Would you like access to it? You would share your information network with us? Sela asked, astonished. Why not? Chen said. You're worried we're hiding weapons, secret fleets, plans for conquest. Access our network. See our news, our entertainment, our debates, our art. See humanity as we really are. Judge for yourselves if we're conquerors or neighbors. The offer stunned the council. No species had ever offered such transparency. Threx studied the humans carefully. They stood relaxed but alert, ready to defend themselves but not looking for a fight. These were people who'd faced extinction and chose hope over despair. I was wrong about you, he said finally. But I'm not sure that makes me less afraid. Fear is reasonable, Kang acknowledged. We're new, we're powerful, and we're unknown. But fear doesn't have to mean hostility. Work with us. Learn about us. Let us learn about you. That's all we ask. Vamac looked around the chamber, seeing the council divided between fear and hope. This decision affects every species in the galaxy. We need time to deliberate. Of course, Chen said. We'll wait. As the humans prepared to leave, Sela approached Chen quietly. Thank you for trying. I believe you. I hope enough others will too. So do we, Chen replied. More than you know. The council chamber buzzed with private conversations as species delegates debated among themselves. Sela worked quietly at her console, accessing the human information network that Dr. Chen had opened to them. What she found amazed her. Humans shared everything. Their news reported both achievements and failures. Their entertainment showed heroes and villains from their own species. Their social networks captured ordinary people's daily lives. Parents with children, workers at their jobs, artists creating beauty. This wasn't the culture of conquerors. This was just life. Counselor Vamac, she called, you need to see this. Vamac approached her station, his 3 eyes scanning the displays. What am I looking at? Human history, Sela explained. They didn't hide anything. Look at this, records of their wars, their mistakes, their crimes against each other, but also their peace treaties, their cooperation, their efforts to build something better. She pulled up footage from Earth. Cities full of diverse human faces, museums preserving their cultural heritage, schools teaching their children, hospitals healing their sick. Parks where people gathered to simply enjoy being alive. They're not hiding what they are, Vamac observed. The good and the bad, all of it accessible. There's more, Sela continued. She showed him the asteroid crisis records. The panic as humanity realized they faced extinction. The desperate years of building the Titan's resolve while scientists tried every possible solution to divert the asteroid. The celebrations when they finally succeeded. Then she showed him something that made Vamac's breath catch, a human news broadcast from just 2 years ago, showing the Titan's resolve preparing for its maiden voyage beyond their solar system. Human children were interviewed, their faces full of hope and excitement. Maybe we'll make friends, one small girl said to the camera. They sent that ship with their children's hopes aboard, Vaymak whispered. No wonder they're so careful about starting wars. Across the station, Threx was conducting his own research. He studied human military history, looking for patterns, for proof of aggression. What he found troubled him in a different way. Humans were terrifyingly good at war. Their history showed tactical genius, strategic innovation, and a willingness to sacrifice everything for survival. But it also showed something else. Every major war in recent human history had ended with the victors helping rebuild the defeated. They called it peace with honor. They could have become conquerors, he muttered to himself. They had the mindset, the capability, but they chose not to. He found records of human peacekeepers, soldiers sent not to fight, but to protect civilians in conflict zones. He found disaster relief efforts where humans traveled across their world to help strangers. He found a concept called humanitarian aid that his translator struggled to explain properly. His communicator chimed. It was his military analyst. Sir, I've completed the tactical breakdown of the Titan's resolve. You need to see this. Threx reviewed the report and felt his scales go cold. The human ship's weapons were indeed mostly defensive, but their tactical doctrine was sophisticated in ways the Council had never considered. They didn't think about destroying enemies. They thought about surviving threats while minimizing casualties on all sides. They fight to end fights, he said slowly, not to win them. On the Titan's resolve, Admiral Kang sat in his ready room, reviewing reports from his crew. The wait was difficult. Every hour that passed meant more alien ships gathering, more pressure on the Council to act. Commander Lee Soo-jin knocked and entered. Admiral, I need to report a situation. Speak. We've detected unauthorized communication intercepts. Someone's been monitoring our broadcasts to Earth and our internal transmissions. Kang frowned. Who? Unknown. But they're using sophisticated technology, military grade. Lee hesitated. Sir, I think there's a faction that doesn't want peace. They're looking for reasons to justify an attack. Do we have any vulnerabilities they could exploit? No, sir. Our systems are secure, but I'm worried they might try something else. A false flag operation, perhaps. Make it look like we attacked first. Kang considered this carefully. Increase monitoring of all nearby ships. I want to know if anything unusual happens. And Lee? Make sure all defensive systems are ready, but keep weapons powered down. I won't give them an excuse. Back on the diplomatic station, the Council reconvened. Vaymak stood at the central podium, his expression grave. We have spent the last cycle reviewing everything the humans shared with us. Their history, their culture, their intentions. The Council must now decide how to proceed. Threx stood. I wish to revise my earlier position. After studying human military doctrine and history, I believe they are telling the truth about their peaceful intentions. Shocked murmurs rippled through the chamber. Threx, the hawk, was now advocating for peace. However, Threx continued, that doesn't mean they're not dangerous. In fact, I believe they're more dangerous than we first thought. Not because they want to conquer, but because they're so good at surviving. If humanity ever decides we're a threat to their survival, they will eliminate us, efficiently and completely. Then what do you propose? Vaymak asked. Integration, Threx said firmly. Bring them into the Council immediately. Make them part of our community, invested in our mutual survival. A species that good at staying alive will be a powerful ally, and if they're part of us, they'll protect us the same way they protect themselves. Sella stood, her crystalline body chiming with excitement. I agree with Military Coordinator Threx, but I propose we go further. Humanity has technology we don't, approaches to problems we've never considered. They offer to share their information network. Let's share ours in return. True partnership, not just alliance. The debate that followed was intense. Some species feared human power. Others saw opportunity. A few wanted to send humanity away, back to their own space where they couldn't threaten anyone. Finally, Vemac called for a vote. All in favor of offering humanity membership in the Galactic Council, with full rights and responsibilities? The vote was close, but it passed. 106 species voted in favor, 94 against. Vemac turned to the communication station. Summon the human delegation. We have our answer. Dr. Chen received the message aboard the Titan's Resolve. They want us to return to the station. The vote is complete. Admiral Kang stood. Then let's hear their decision. Whatever it is, we'll respect it. The shuttle ride back to the diplomatic station felt longer than before. Park noticed that the number of alien warships surrounding them had actually decreased. Either a good sign or a bad one, he couldn't tell which. When they entered the council chamber, Vemac greeted them formally. Dr. Chen, Admiral Kang, the Galactic Council has reached a decision. Chen's heart pounded. Everything they'd worked for came down to this moment. The Council votes to extend an invitation to humanity to join us as full members, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. We recognize that your presence in the galaxy is not a threat, but an opportunity. We welcome you as neighbors, friends, and partners in building a better future. Chen felt tears in her eyes. Councillor Vemac, on behalf of humanity, we accept. Thank you. But as the chamber erupted in mixed reactions of celebration and concern, Commander Park's communicator buzzed with an urgent message from the Titan's Resolve. Sir, his tactical officer's voice was urgent. We're detecting multiple ships breaking formation and approaching at high speed. Their weapons are powered up. I think someone's about to do something very stupid. Park's hand went to his sidearm, then remembered he wasn't armed. He looked at Admiral Kang and saw the Admiral's expression harden. Councillor Vemac, Kang said urgently, we have a problem. The council chamber descended into chaos as alarms blared throughout the station. Vemac's console lit up with emergency alerts. What's happening? Multiple ships have broken formation, Threx reported, his scales flashing with combat readiness. They're converging on the human vessel, weapons hot. Admiral Kang's face remained calm, but his voice carried absolute authority. Commander Park, get our people to the shuttle. Dr. Chen, start emergency protocols. Wait, Sella cried out. Those aren't Council military ships. Look at the identification codes. They're registered to the Liberation Front. Terrorists, Threx spat. They've been quiet for years. I should have expected this. On the Titan's Resolve, Commander Lee Soo-jin watched 12 hostile vessels approaching. They were older ships, decommissioned military craft that had been stolen years ago. Each one carried enough firepower to threaten a small station. Shields to maximum, she ordered. All hands to battle stations. But hold fire. I repeat, hold fire. The lead terrorist ship broadcast a message on open channels. People of the galaxy, we act today to save you from the human threat. We will destroy this monster before it destroys us all. They're using stolen military access codes, the security officer reported. That's how they got past the defensive perimeter. Lee's mind raced. She could destroy these ships easily. The Titan's Resolve outgunned them 100 to 1. But doing so would prove every fear the galaxy had about humanity. It would start the war they'd worked so hard to prevent. Target their weapon systems only, she commanded. Precision strikes. Disable, don't destroy. On the diplomatic station, Admiral Kang watched the tactical display with Vemac and Threx. The terrorist ships opened fire, their weapons striking the Titan's Resolve's shields in brilliant flashes. Your ship isn't returning fire, Vemac observed. Commander Lee knows her orders, Kang said. We defend, we don't attack. They're going to die if they just sit there, Threx protested. No, Kang said quietly. They won't. The Titan's Resolve's point defense systems activated. Thousands of small turrets tracked incoming missiles and energy blasts with perfect precision. The weapons that the Council had seen during the demonstration now showed their true purpose, shooting down threats before they reached the ship. Missiles exploded harmlessly in space. Energy weapons were intercepted by precisely timed counter beams. Not a single shot reached the hull. "Incredible," breathed Threx. "They're making it look easy." The terrorist ships regrouped and fired again, this time coordinating their attack. They came from multiple angles, overwhelming any normal ship's defenses. The Titan's resolve simply rotated slightly, bringing different point defense batteries to bear. The result was the same: total defensive superiority. Lee watched the tactical display and made her decision. "Target their engine cores, surgical strikes. I want them dead in space but intact." The Titan's resolve finally fired back, not with the massive weapons the terrorists expected, but with precise laser bursts that lasted less than a second each. 12 shots, 12 disabled ships. Not destroyed, not exploding, just suddenly powerless and drifting. "Launch rescue shuttles," Lee ordered. "Get their crews to safety before life support fails." On the diplomatic station, the Council watched in stunned silence as human rescue craft raced toward the disabled terrorist ships. The same vessels that had just attacked them were now being saved by their intended victims. "They're rescuing them," Sella whispered. "After being attacked, they're saving their attackers." Admiral Kang spoke into his communicator. "Commander Lee, status report. All hostile vessels disabled, sir. No casualties on either side. We're extracting their crews now. Some of them are injured, so we're bringing them to our medical bay." "Understood. Good work, Commander." Threx turned to Kang, his expression unreadable. "Your ship was attacked. You had every right to destroy those vessels." "Why didn't you?" "Because killing them wouldn't solve anything," Kang replied. "It would just prove that we're as dangerous as they feared. Better to show that we choose mercy even when we have the power to choose vengeance." VMAX's 3 eyes showed something like wonder. "You're treating the terrorists as if they're worthy of protection." "They're people," Chen said simply. "Scared people who made a terrible choice, but still people. We don't kill people for being afraid." The rescue operation proceeded efficiently. Human medics treated wounded terrorists while security teams disarmed them gently but firmly. The prisoners looked confused, expecting execution or torture. Instead, they received medical care and were secured in comfortable holding cells. One of the terrorist leaders, a young Vexian barely out of adolescence, was brought before Commander Lee. "Why?" he demanded. "Why save us? We tried to kill you." Lee looked at him with something like sadness. "Because that's what humans do. We survive. And part of surviving is staying human, even when others aren't." News of the incident spread across the galaxy within hours. The footage was everywhere. The Titan's resolve absorbing attacks without retaliating, then disabling its attackers with surgical precision, then immediately launching rescue operations to save the very people who'd tried to kill them. The galactic response was overwhelming. Species that had voted against humanity's membership began requesting to change their votes. Military analysts studied the engagement, marveling at the restraint and precision displayed. Ordinary citizens watched humans risk their lives to save terrorists and saw something they hadn't expected: compassion, backed by strength. The Council reconvened in emergency session. Vemac addressed the chamber with new confidence. "The vote on human membership will be revisited in light of recent events. However, I don't believe another vote is necessary. Humanity has shown us who they are, not through words but through actions." Threx stood, his scales showing colors of respect. "I was wrong about the humans twice. First, I thought they were conquerors. Then I thought they were merely survivors. But they're something more than that. They're protectors. They have the power to destroy, but choose to defend. Not just themselves, but everyone." He turned to Admiral Kang, who stood with the human delegation. "Admiral, I formally request that humanity consider a military exchange program. My people need to learn from yours, not just your technology, but your philosophy. The idea that strength's greatest purpose is protection, not domination. Kang nodded respectfully. We would be honored, military coordinator. Sella's crystalline form chimed with joy. I propose that we not just accept humanity into the Council, but that we learn from their approach to shared information. Open networks, transparent communication, mutual knowledge, these things build trust faster than any treaty. The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. Only a handful of species abstained, and none voted against. Humanity was welcomed into the Galactic Council with full membership, full rights, and something more valuable than either: genuine respect. Dr. Korschen stood before the council, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, all of you. We came to the stars hoping to find friends. We found a family instead. Days later, the Titans Resolve prepared to depart the council space. Their mission was complete, but the ship still had work to do. They were still seeking new worlds, still exploring the galaxy. Admiral Kang stood on the bridge, watching alien vessels approach. But these weren't warships coming to threaten. They were escorts, guides, friends offering to show humanity the wonders of the galaxy. Sir, Park said quietly. Mission accomplished? Mission accomplished, Kang confirmed. But the journey's just beginning. Commander Lee approached with a report. The rescued terrorists are being transferred to council custody. Their leader asked to speak with you before he goes. The young Vexian was brought to the bridge in restraints, though human guards treated him gently. He looked at Admiral Kang with confusion and something like shame. I don't understand you, he said. I tried to kill you. You saved me instead. Why? Kang studied the young alien carefully. Because you were wrong about us, and we wanted to prove it. You thought we were monsters. Monsters would have killed you. We're not monsters. We're just people trying to find our way, same as everyone else. I was afraid, the Vexian admitted. Your ship, your power. It terrified me. Fear is natural, Kang said. But you have to choose what to do with that fear. You chose violence. We chose understanding. Which of us was right? The young Vexian had no answer. He was led away quietly. But his expression suggested he'd be thinking about that question for a long time. As the Titan's Resolve moved away from Council space, escorted by vessels from a dozen different species, Dr. Chen compiled her report for Earth. She wrote about the fear they'd encountered, the misunderstandings, the brief moment of violence. But mostly, she wrote about hope. We learned something important, she recorded. The galaxy feared us because we're powerful, but they came to respect us because we're kind. Strength without compassion is tyranny. Compassion without strength is weakness. But strength and compassion together, that's what makes us human. That's what makes us worthy of the stars. The message would take months to reach Earth, but when it did, humanity would celebrate. Not because they'd conquered anyone, but because they'd made friends, real friends who'd seen humanity at its worst and best and chose to embrace them anyway. Admiral Kang stood on the bridge as stars streaked past the viewports. Somewhere out there was a world perfect for human settlement, and now, with friends to help them find it, the search would be easier. Set course for the Andromeda sector, he ordered. Let's see what's out there. The Titan's Resolve, humanity's first giant leap into the galaxy, sailed into the unknown, no longer feared as a weapon of war, but welcomed as a symbol of hope. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ships. It was their refusal to become the monsters others feared they might be. And that made all the difference.